We've got clips of Gavin Newsom after the slaughter of a debate performance by Kamala Harris, who just buried Trump at every single turn, where I think he does great to speak on exactly what happens, what it'll represent, and what's going to happen going forward. In our next video at 7 p.m., we'll go through the Republican cope as well and how they're dealing with this massive loss, because it's great, trust me. So let's line this up and see what's being said.
He was just here, spinning his spin. Yep. What do you think that represents in terms of his assessment of
an act of desperation. He knows he got his clock clean. From the moment she came out on stage, when she introduced himself, she had the courage to go over to him, shake his hand, clearly he was uncomfortable, and introduce herself as Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. She commanded the room from the second she came out. She was a commander-in-chief, and she had him on the defense the entire night. If this was a prize fight, it would have been TKO in the second round. She did as well or better than any of us could have hoped for, and I know her well enough to know this: the best is yet to come. She can get even more. With more experience, more time on the campaign trail, you're going to see the quality of her performance only improve.
And this is wonderfully put. Right off the bat, she came out, took center stage, went to go shake his hand, showed him how to pronounce her name, then shook his hand while he was clearly trying to avoid all of it, like as if he was scared of her. And from that moment on, she had control. She would look at him when talking. She would address him directly, and Trump refused to even look her way. It didn't matter that Trump was constantly barging in at the end of exchanges to get more time. He seemed like a babbling child in the middle of her temper tantrum while she was cool, calm, collected, and professional. The contrast here couldn't have been better for Kamala, and that's one of the main reasons the debate wasn't even close. Though where I do disagree with Gavin here is, in my humble opinion, it was a clean knockout in the first round.
At one point, he said he had done a great service to the country by appointing the Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe, and then said it was what everybody wanted. Yeah. When you think about the issue that could decide the election, that could be the whole ballgame.
Well, the way she was able to humanize that and talk about 12 and 13-year-olds that have been raped, that are clutching teddy bears as they're giving birth to the rapist babies. I mean, what she didn't say was those same 12 and 13-year-olds in Mississippi, there was one girl that had to bring her kid to 7th grade. That's Donald Trump's America. She was able to bring that to light in a deeply emotional way. That was the most significant and consequential moment of the debate, because she spoke for millions and millions and millions of women and parents like me with 2 daughters. That was a significant moment. And here's why it was significant as well. And it's not an indictment of Joe Biden by any stretch of the imagination, but it shows a differentiator. Yeah. It shows what she is able to bring in terms of her communication, particularly on issues like that.
Exactly. The vigor, the fire, the passion is something that was missing from this election until Kamala Harris stepped in. I mean, it was 2 babbling old men pretty much. It was missing from both sides. No one is now one party is still tied to their babbling old lunatic, and the other has the fresh young candidate who is bringing a bunch of hope and possibility. And I also agree that abortion was the strongest part for her during this debate. She humanized the issue, spoke the emotions and feelings of plenty of women in America, rape and incest victims, child victims, women with miscarriages who can't get care because the doctors are scared of going to jail. She spoke on families whose fertilization treatments are at risk, and she was perfectly able to stick all of these negative outcomes directly onto Trump, as he directly enabled this to happen in a way that he struggled to escape from.
Near the end, when we talked about the issues of race, and she elevated that in a way that gave, I saw there was a young girl, a young African-American girl in the spin room. She walked from the back of the room to the front of the room. I'm almost getting emotional about this. And she was looking at that screen because she saw herself. I mean, that was a different level of attachment. It didn't come from here. That came from here. And that's what she brought tonight. This was not a great night for her. This was a great night for this country, for freedom, for democracy, the rule of law, for social justice and racial justice. I'm just filled with pride. And I'm also filled with pride because that's the Kamala Harris I've known for 30 years. We've been saying this. I know people go, I'm telling you, that Kamala Harris I've known for 30 years. And this levity, she's back in a profound and deep way. And I think this is a tough night for the campaign, for the Trump campaign.
She clearly rattled him multiple times, did so while addressing him directly, looking him dead in his face while she was talking. And again, he wouldn't even look her way. Not a single time this entire debate did he look her way. He was scared, as if he was a child being scolded by his mother. And on race, he doubled down on her changing races and then was like, but I don't care. You know, I just don't care. But when he was then pressed pressed further on like how, well, but these are your words, he literally goes, oh, I don't know, right? As if his own quote confused him. He just had no defense for it. And I'm sure that his campaign managers were just punching a wall somewhere in the back about how terribly he answered this, as he again fell for the trap. And then Kamala came in passionately about how Americans are tired of being divided like this. We have more in common than we have that differentiate us, yet we have a candidate spreading hate and divisiveness as his entire campaign, and especially doing so on racial lines, how Americans just simply deserve better than Trump. It was truly a beautiful moment where, again, the contrast of hate and divisiveness from Trump and hope and possibility from Harris couldn't have been more on display.
Trump has become kind of a bad imitation of himself. And what we saw tonight was a vice president, former prosecutor, laying these traps repeatedly for Trump, who kept walking into them, whether it was his father's silver spoon or the size of his rallies or him being a disgrace on the world stage. Each and every one of them he responded to.
It was too easy. It was too easy. I mean, this shows how consequential this election was. She laid those traps. And I want to compliment her, but they weren't even that complex. They're just trigger words. And you just watched, you saw his physiology, you saw his eye movement, you knew where he was going to go. But it's also what the rest of the world does to Donald Trump. She was absolutely right. I've been in those rooms with foreign leaders all around. I've met with dozens of them. They all say exactly what she said tonight. They're laughing behind his mouth.
It was like taking candy from a 78-year-old babbling baby who had poop in his diaper. I mean, after weeks of insulting her intelligence and questioning it just alike, it was on clear display that Trump is the one who is nowhere near her level intellectually. He was on defense the entire night because of the masterclass that Kamala put on, and MAGA, who said that she would just be too scared and couldn't handle the moment and was just going to do a bunch of word salads, are now forced to eat those words, to shove them down their throats, as she never once got off topic. She made Trump get off topic multiple times as he fell for every trap she set, and he would ramble about nonsensical things like his crowd sizes or the silver spoon that he was handed, as she elegantly laid out her policy agenda while Trump was unable to expand on his in the least bit. If you enjoyed this video, we're Social Society. We're a commentary channel influenced by politics, society, and the economy. We are pretty left-leaning on this channel, but we're open to our right-wingers as well. The biggest thing here is having conversations to get everyone to the bottom of the truth. If that sounds like something that could interest you, consider smashing that subscribe button, leaving us a like, or even commenting on this video. We even have memberships available as low as $3 if you'd like to support, because the only way we become a society is together. Peace.